What up, guys? Fruit Punch Saber here. Yeah, it's been a while. Witch on the Holy Night. Let's go ahead and continue. I still remember what happened in the first part. I don't know about you, but let's go ahead. I want to compare headphones. It's my main motivation if I'm resuming this. Like, I have studio headphones from the 80s. It comes in tomorrow. That's going to be sick. I'll tell you guys more about it later, though. Let's go ahead and start the game. Make sure everything is muted so we get no interruption. Alright, Aoko did not stop by the faculty room before heading home. While Mr. Yamashiro offered to drive her home was tempting, she decided it would ultimately be far more satisfying to ruin his day just as he had hers. She walked as quietly as she could toward the entrance and opened her bright red umbrella. You know, one thing I really like about Nasu visual novels is this is also Ryukishi. He does this type of stuff. There's a couple of visual novels that does. It's like a novel. It's like pictures, right? The background, and then they have text over it. I like that. It feels more like a book, and I do kind of like that. There are some visual novels where I do prefer the text at the bottom, but that's like the self-insert dating sim kind of visual novels. But for this one was more like a story focus, right? Linear story focus. I like this one where it's like an actual book format. And you can see some background. Obviously sound effects and voice acting and music. As she had predicted the rain was waning in the afternoon. At this rate, it would probably cease completely in an hour or so. The distant sunshine would likely have reached her by the time she arrived home. Dang, I feel like I got smarter. I didn't stumble anything. I feel like before, when I read, I usually stumble a lot of words, right? But I think because I actually started reading. It's because I was traveling a lot, so I started reading like light novels. And I'm reading like Supernatural, Whatever Everyday Occurrence. I have like volume 1 and 2. They're pretty good. Volume 1's like chapter 1. I don't want to talk, it's not a book review, but I feel like I got smarter from reading. Even if it's anime books. She shrugged her shoulders in resignation. She neither liked nor disliked rain, but she found herself enjoying her walk home with her red umbrella in hand. The teachers at Misaki High School weren't fond of bright colors, so Aoko's red umbrella was an unusual sight. A ghost story about how the umbrella was once pure white had been making the rounds, but it featured Aoko instead of a ghost. It was with the umbrella that she made her way towards Misaki Station. Dang, you know, there's a lot of lore that I've forgotten that I'm starting to remember slowly. I can't get over the fact, because I already read Tsukihime, but only arc route, right? I haven't read CLs yet. But I read the OG as well. Ah, man. Misaki Station. I can't help but think about Tsukihime. Only the OG. The new one's not in Misaki Town, right? I forgot which location was it. The private Misaki High School got its name from the town of the same name. There was once a sprawl of farmland and woodland, but rapid growth over the last 10 years had led to unprecedented modernization. There were some who sought... Oh, I already stumbled. There's some who fought to preserve Misaki nature's natural treasures.
残すことには賛成ですが、それでは残すだけになってしまうでしょう。
With those words, the mayor snuffed out the voices of the minority and ushered in a long-term plan for new urban development. Can I turn up? I'm turning up my end. I know there's no music, but I like the sounds. More than enough funds for the urban development were collected, and the unassuming town of Misaki became the largest municipal. Fuck. Nasu, bro. I was just bragging how smarter I got. Can't pronounce this. Municipality of Misaki Town in merely 10 years. Alright. We gotta look that up. It's all about getting smarter. Municipality. A city or town that has corporate status or local government. How you pronounce it? Mu Nick E Palady. Okay. Google.
Municipality.
Municipality. I knew I pronounced it right first time. Municipality. This has a government. Sure. Even though it lacked the modernity of neighboring Yashirogi or the elegance of Misaki Hills.
それも当然よね。どういじくっても、もともとが山中の宿場町だし、山ごと切り崩すって言うんなら別だけど。
Urbanization had been contained to the lowlands around the station, and then most of the hills and mountains still standing as they did 10 years prior. The exhaustion of funds succeeded in protecting the old Misaki where the citizens could not. It became a truly odd suburban town, welcoming an increasingly urban population with vestiges of old country charm. Misaki High School was a private school established long before the town's current estate. The original campus, built 50 years ago, was located high up in the mountains, making its current location its second incarnation. The path to the old grounds was remote, steep, and also well trodden by animals. For these reasons, among others, Misaki High School had been shuttered until almost 20 years ago, when it received a donation from a department store chain that allowed for the construction of a new campus in the city. And thus, Misaki High School reopened its doors, the old Woodland campus forgotten. In fact, most of the students attending Misaki High School were not from Misaki at all. The hardy rustic people of this country town prefer prefectural schools to private ones. Hey! Doesn't this look familiar? Hey! I feel like this looks familiar. But then you could say the scene to every other city, right? Or Japanese city. Because you can see a little bit of Misaki Town being anime. I never watched the Tsukihime anime. I don't think that exists, to be honest. Right? I heard an urban legend that there's one called Urban Legends Tsukihime, whatever it's called. But that's just an urban legend. But besides that one, I know about Carnival Phantasm. I know it's a gag anime, but they do show a little bit of Misaki Town. And this looks familiar. But then this is like a very vague scene. Not vague, but like I think you could pretty much say, hey, this look like Wisconsin. You could even say that. And you're like, oh, it does. Or something, I don't know. Truth be told, Aoko herself was one of them. All she had wanted after junior high was to move to Tokyo, where she hoped to spend her days enjoying live music on her way to entering a public university. Spend her days enjoying live music? She likes music? I don't like that. But her hosts were, hey! Oh, fuck! Oh, I don't want to cuss. Oh, gotta remember YouTube policies. But, yo! I remember when I first played this game, day one. I had the 1997. I think it was 1997. I forgot which one. But remember, I had Sony CD3000. I sold it. I'm mad I sold it. I needed money. I had no choice. But her hopes were dashed with her sister's departure, so here she was, walking alone in town, with only a red umbrella to keep her company on what should have been a day off. You know, to be fair, the Sony CD3000s, I'm not a fan of for vocals. It's really good for orchestra, classical orchestra music.
思い返してみると、私の人生ってなんか災難続きっぽい。
Her frustration evaporated into a cold December air. How you press her sister's departure? Let's see. Interesting. Okay. Let's remember that. Her frustration evaporated into the cold December air.
でもま、いっか。退屈だけはしないわけだし。
With those words, her mood brightened a bit as she left the school in her wake. The busier part of town met her at the bottom of the gently sloping road. I like her umbrella, it's super red. Why did she get a red umbrella? Alright, maybe she likes the color red. Or maybe it's foreshadowing. Misaki train station was brand new. Once looking no prettier than an abandoned factory, it had been renovated into a multi-purpose structure with huge department stores on east and west wings sides. When the department stores first opened, Ako and her friends had been impressed with their modern feel, but in time the stores too became dated. The North Carolina is coming out of me. She had no shopping to do today, so she passed them by. What she really wanted to do was rest at a cafe, but she fought the urge, knowing her roommate would never let her hear the end of it if she frittered away her money. I forgot what year this is supposed to be. I could look it up real quick. She looked back and blinked. For just a moment, she could have sworn she had seen someone suspicious in a red dress out of the corner of her eye. Red dress. It must have been her imagination. The sixth sense chill she was experiencing down her spine was a familiar one at this point. Actually, let me look it up real quick. Witch of the Holy Night. I guess wiki. Oh, time. Timeline. Year. Let's see. Setting. This is the 1980s. Oh, what? No way. Oh, I remember we had this conversation in the first video. It's been months. Sorry. So she's like 40 in Tsukihime, right? Oh, wait a minute. Wait, she's like 30 or 40. How? Now I gotta do this. I forgot her age. Let's see. 1972? Oh! So this is in the 80s. Wait a minute. How old is she? 16. 1972 plus 16, right? 1972 plus 16. 88. This is 1988. Oh, she's 42 in Tsukihime remake. Dang, she doesn't look 42. $2014? Wait. Where's my boy Shiki? Let's look him up real quick. I can see the lines. No, not that Shiki. Dang it. What am I supposed to call him? Tono? Nah, let's look up Akiya. Screw it. 1998. Shiki's like 17, right? Where's Shiki? Okay. 1997. 17. 1997 plus 17 is plus 10, 2007. 2014. Tsukihime remake. 2014. This take place like 1988? That's crazy. I know we experienced this, but it's been a long time since I played from point A to point B. The sixth sense chill she was experiencing down her spine was a familiar one at this point. That means she didn't have the Sony's. Right. It is 88. She continued her walk home, brushing off the event as if she had never happened. It had never happened. I'm flabbergasted. I forgot she's 40 in Tsukihime. In time, the chill faded, and all that was left was the sounds of the town. It's okay. I still love you, Akko. She sighed heavily. Had she imagined it? Even if it had all been in her head, she was far from comfortable with the feeling that still lingered.
夏場の方ってもう少しこう
She grumbled under her breath. She looks the
波乱万
same.
丈商売繁盛諸行無常と
Dude, so she was 30, right? In Tsukihime remake? Because we don't see her after Shiki turns 17. Right? We only see her when Shiki was young. So that was like 10 years ago. So she was 30 in Tsukihime remake, I think. That's how it's supposed to go. That's what I want to say. She doesn't look different. But that's like anime, right? They always do that. To be fair, I've seen a lot of Asian people in their 30s that doesn't look 30. They look the same. I've seen them like 20 years ago. Well, 20 years is exaggeration. Like 15 years ago. The same age. I'm like, what the hell? Bro, you look the same like you did yesterday. Or maybe 10 years. 30 still young? That's true. She's 43, I think, when Shiki's 17. So we wind that back 10 years. I think we seen her in Tsukihime remake 33. So, how you think she's gonna look 43? Right? 43. Nah, I think that's there gotta be some wrinkles, right? Whether good or bad, this too shall pass. So the saying goes. I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I wonder how they're gonna make Aoko look when she's 43.
そうそう
Or in her
忙しさに愚
40s.
痴を言っても始まらないわ
We won't know until we get the Tsukihime sequel. Obviously, right? The Red Garden. So once we get Red Garden, we'll be able to see what Aoko looks like when she's 40. In her 40s. Unfortunately, summer and bugs go hand in hand. She could see how bugs could be drawn to all the sweet fruit. You know, in the Tsukihime OG, she was in her 30s. It wasn't that bad. That's her part-time. Dang. Ranking grease and heat, the kitchen was closed for the time being. The lunch rush had come and gone, but one last battle remained. Dinner time. Only after the evening chaos could the kitchen crew remove their white armor and call it a day. Hey, what's this? I like this. Damn, I fucked. You too, Paulus. I love... Yo! It's been a while, bruh. You don't know how many months has it been since I played a visual novel. Visual novel OST always hits harder for me. Honestly. In the midst of the war zone was a lone newcomer.
これ着るんですか
His voice was uneasy, betraying how new he was.
気持ちはわかる。俺もどうかと思うけど、店長の言うことだから、もう笑顔で乗り越えてくれ。これも商店街の明日のためなんだとよ。本気で申し訳ないんだが、雨も止んだし、なんとか行ってきてくれないか？
Buy you dinner.
無事帰ってきたら晩飯おごってやっから。
His bright orange coworker clasped his hands together, as if to beg for forgiveness as he saddled him with an unreasonable task. Dang, look at Misaki Town. It's uphill. 10 years ago, Misaki Town. Whoa. Misaki City was a town of farm and woodland. But everything has changed. The front of the station was now lined. Oh! Bro, Misaki Town! That's the family mansion, right? All the way up to the hills. We gotta let it go all the way up. Can it go all the way up? Dang, there's so much change. I wonder how they're gonna do it for that's the mansion, right? Isn't that the mansion? Dang, there's so much in the town. I don't want to spoil Tsukihime OG, but there's so much lore. Like, where's XXX family gonna be located at? If they're no longer in Misaki Town. Hold on. They call it Soya, right? Soya City, I think. So that means the Tonu family is in Soya City, but where's XXX family is gonna be located at now, right? Does that mean they just move all the history of XXX family and XX family to Soya City as well? And what about the I can spoil this because it's Melty Blood, right? They're not gonna make this character in Tsukihime. They should have in a remake. They should have added freaking Miyako. I don't care about Miyako necessarily, but I think it would have added more, you know, instead of blank faces of, oh, Shiki spent 10 years of his life with blank, blank, blank. They could have been more detailed because they already wrote out the story. Shiki, right? He spent 10 years of his life with the Anima families. They still haven't drawn Anima Miyako mom. I thought she cried when Shiki left. Or at least that's how I had it in my head. She probably didn't, but that'd be cool. Because the way to describe the Anima parents is they really love Shiki. They could have added him. Bro, Shiki, in the original, oh my god, I'm spoiling this one. Because this one's a weird ass fact. I don't know if they're bringing this back. But Shiki lost his virginity to the freaking doctor. The doctor has a daughter. I'm not gonna say who the doctor is, because he still might be relevant to the story. Oh my god, Tsukihime has some weird lore. Where's the doctor daughter at? Why didn't they make her like part of the game? Man, they replaced her with like a Dr. Edic. I mean, you know, if they change that lore, alright. But what's I going with this? Oh yeah, so they just moved everybody important in Misaki Town and just like transfer it to Soya City. I guess the setting doesn't really matter. But then, what's the forest going to be called now, right? Isn't this close to XXX Forest? I can't spoil it because that's Red Garden lore, right? They're going to bring that back. But let me call this the Secret Assassin Clan, right? The Secret Assassin Clan Forest. What's that going to be at now? They're just going to like conveniently move it at Soya City, or is it still going to be like near Misaki Town? Is it still near Misaki Town? That's godlike, because now that's going to be like Aoko hometown. The way they like tied in Aoko with like the ultimate secret assassin clan. What if they add the ultimate secret assassin clan to the story? They probably didn't. I would have heard about it now. All right, let's get back. I just wanted to like get that off my chest, because it's cool to see the mansion from here in this perspective. I think that's the mansion, right? That looks like the mansion, because they said the mansion's supposed to be like up the hill. That looks up the hill. Alright, but everything had changed. The front of the station was now lined with tall multi-story buildings, and the residential areas were similarly full of apartment complexes. The once rustic scenery around the station had long become a thing of the past. You know what's crazy? It's been months since I touched Type Moon, and what was it, like the first 10 minutes? I'm just looking at the Type Moon background. We're not even in the story. We're slowly pacing because I keep freaking out. Like, no matter how long I get out of Type Moon, when I see Type Moon, the inner fanboy always escapes. It's been months since I touched anything Type Moon related. Alright, I'm not a big fan of Grand Order. I'm only a fan, honestly, of like Stay Night, Tsukihime, and basically I like this. I know I'm gonna like it, because if I like Tsukihime, I like this. I haven't gotten to Guardian of Sentence yet, but that's on the list to do. Did I read this already? I don't remember. But everything had changed. The front of the station was now lined up with tall multi-story buildings, and the residential areas were similarly full of apartment complexes. The once rustic scenery around the station had long become a thing of the past. Shiroi Nuzuka was the only place in the city that still contained vestige of the old town, a pocket of the past inside the urban jungle. The road extended up to the conspicuously high hill, to the old residential district far from the hustle and bustle at the train station. Long ago, it had been considered unwise to build on high grounds, so nobody lived above a certain elevation. Shironuzuka, sitting as it did atop of the hill, atop of the hill in the middle of the town, was no exception to the convention. It had no residents to speak of. Shiroi Nizuka. I never heard of that one. That's probably not the mansion then. Is it? The asphalt continued for some time, eventually giving way to the mountain road that swallowed into covered trees. A lone vending machine stood to mark boundary between town and beyond. Even the children knew there was nothing beyond the new playground in development that so enthralled them. Well, that was not entirely true. There was nothing besides the haunted house. I had to speed it. Aoko Aozaki traversed the long slope. Below her, she could see the whole of Misaki. The symmetrical town looked like a miniature set from this height. It would look like a painting if there had been a sea next to it, but unfortunately, Misaki City was very much landlocked. While it was overcast at the moment, the scene was quite breathtaking on clear evenings. The view was the one thing that made the arduous climb worthwhile, and today she had been denied even that.
ああ、雨の日は自転車も使えないし、1日に2回ぐらいバスでも通ってくれないもんかな、ほんと。
Aoko had been using this road to get to school for almost 2 years now, but the journey had never gotten easier.
あれ、
Yeah,
鍵閉まったまま？
it is. It's the mansion, right?
アリス、まだ帰ってきてないんだ。
With a weary shrug, she put her hands on a rusty iron fence. Quietly, the heavy gate swung open as if to welcome her. There ain't no maids, no Hyusubi no Kohaku. Who's gonna take care of the mansion? There sits atop that hill, a haunted house. This is how the story much shared around town used to begin. But fresh rumors about the house has sprung to life almost as fast as the town modernization. I heard this is Nasu's first light novel that he ever wrote. Right? Or first novel in general. He wrote this in high school. But Witch of the Holy Night, 2012, that's when the PC released, I believe. This is like a remake. So this is like Nasu starting over. So, Witch of the Holy Night, 2012. Now, Tsukihime, 2021. It's supposed to be 19 though, right? I'm wondering where Garden Center is going to sit through in this cycle. I wonder if they're going to remake that. I doubt it though. Classical, huh? Haruhi. Yeah. But fresh rumors about the house has sprung to life almost as fast as the town modernization. You told me about this. This is Vivaldi Winter, right? Feel like I'm right. Or is it another one? No? Damn. My bad then. Which one is this one? Despite being dilapidated and abandoned for many years, lights can be seen inside the house at night. An angry murder of crows often gathers atop the hill before mysteriously vanishing. Children got lost in the fog, never to be seen again. Late at night, a shrieking sound can be heard all the way to town. This particular piece of slander was one Aoko wished to discredit the most. Oh, you did tell me about this. Geno PD. Let me see. I guess I have it through here. Bum, bum. Cobuzz. Classical. This one. Uh-oh. I think my server's slow. Let's see. Number 1. Okay. Genopedia. Number 1. I got it. The final rumor was an eye-catching luxury car that sometimes made its way up and down the hill. The rumor spread and grew by the day, and while they grew, the house that everyone thought had rotted away was restored over the recent years. Deep in the wood on top of the hill, no one dared to approach, like a ruin shrouded from view, even in the brightest days. stood a relic of time, a building from a fairy tale. Dang, man, no Hisue, no Kohaku to keep it well maintained. Grass is getting out of hand. The house. Dang, it looks terrible. Was the Kwanji Mansion. Do we have picture of Misaki Town? Misaki Mansion? We do. I can pull it up real quick. Let's do Tsukihime OG Misaki Mansion. I don't want the remake, man. No. Can I find like the original? Oh, I guess this is close enough. Alright. Let's go here real quick. Oh. You see? Right here? And then this one? Oh, I'm over here. Oh, this one. Man, it look like shit. It has like a path. It's like bigger too. Hey, it's this little greens. It's so different. It looks I trust cars. Dang, they basically moved Misaki Mansion to Soya Town, right? Or Soya City, what do you even call it? Right? It's basically, I mean, it would've been cool. Like a throwback, I don't know. And they made this like look the same as the original Misaki Mansion. It looks different, like very different. What's a Kwanji Mansion? It is really different. It's just a whole new setting. The only thing they shared the same is the name of the town. That's it. Everyone in town knew about the witch house on the hill. The unabashedly haunted house where Aoko Aozaki resided for reasons unknown. Needless to say, it was not really haunted. The Kwanji family home was a grand Western-style mansion with a long and storied history stretching all the way back to England. It was too small to be a dormitory, yet too big to be called a house. The main building contained as many as 3 normal houses worth of rooms and surrounded by a large, all-encompassing courtyard. You know, last week, I visited a very rich guy mansion. He was the richest guy in the 1900s. I went to Asheville, North Carolina. What's it called? The Village? The Village? No, I'm thinking about the Villaggio from Las Vegas, right? It's not that. What's it called? What was that guy mansion called? I forgot. But he was like the richest guy in the 1900s. He had a huge mansion. His mansion is more impressive than this. It was like, oh, it's so huge. It was like 5 zip codes. All right, maybe it was exaggeration. 3 zip codes at least. It was that huge. Man, and what a mansion. The perimeter of the grounds was surrounded by a high iron fence covered in thorny vines. There was also an annex to the main building. I also looked out the window of a rich guy mansion. It felt pretty nice. It was like nothing but forest. And I felt powerful for a bit. I was like, dang. Imagine if I owned this. I bet that's how she felt. Because she could see the whole view of the town, right? From up the hill. Given such extravagance, it was no wonder that it inspired rumors. To the town residents, the mere existence of such lavish and out-of-place mansion on top of the hill was a cause of suspicion. Rumor, lies, and slanders were the prices to be paid for fame. With only 2 lodgers, it was hard to disagree with the perception that vampires must be living here. Hey, is that a throwback? Vampires? Because, you know, this is technically a remake. So, just like Tsukihime remake, they probably re-edited the script a little bit. And now that Nasu already, you know, fancying himself with vampires, I wonder he did it as a, like an Easter egg for Tsukihime.
ま、私はともかく、アリスはそういうのやりかねないし。
She put her hands on the front door. It was a grand double door that would have paired well with a brass lock, and yet it was secure with a little more than a simple keyhole. Pushing it open with one hand, she entered the supposedly haunted house. And, by the way, if vampires were not enough to scare you, ghosts were known to appear on certain nights. I don't know what the ghost thing is. Maybe that's for foreshadowing. Oh, this is my favorite song! Yeah! They didn't play a lot of classical music. Much like the weather outside, the foyer were overcast with shades of gray. They didn't play this much classical music in Stay Night or Tsukihime, right? Tsukihime remake, they had a composer, and so did Stay Night. I wonder why they went with classical music for Richard the Holy Knight. This is 2012. So this is Nasu first visual novel in a long time. After Stay Night, right? After Stay Night, Nasu hasn't created visual novels since then. Right? He went from like mobile games to video games. But he hasn't done like visual novels since Stay Night, I don't think. Whoa. Hollow Ontaraxia, I guess, if you want to count that. But besides that, I don't think there was another visual novels after that. So maybe they didn't have budgets, so they had to use classical. I think you still have to pay a lot to use classical. I don't know. I'm not in the business. But he got a good choice in music. Much like the weather outside, the foyer was overcast with the shades of gray. Perhaps by deliberate design, the architect had chosen not to include any lights in the entrance area. The ceiling was 2 floors high. The only light in the room came from the skylight. It was particularly gloomy on rainy days. The moonless nights, it was like the world itself ceased to be. Aoko decided the drawing room to the east would be a good place to rest, but knowing that she would not be able to relax until she changed clothes, she started up the stairs. The stairs curved up the wall to the 2nd floor hall. There was a 3rd floor attic as well, accessible from the far end of the hall. She had never set foot in there in the 2 years she had lived there, though. The Kwanji mansion was more or less divided into 2 wings, east and west. Aoko had been given the entire east wing, but 2 rooms were more than enough as far as she was concerned. She had no desire to open a door that would trap you in a storybook world, or lead to an attic that only been used for storage for the last 5 years. This looks like Tona mentioned this part. She got a guitar. Man, those white headphones though. This is 88 though, so I'm not familiar. Aoko's room was at the end of the east wing long corridor. She had elected for a smaller room for no other reasons other than she had thought it would be easier to clean. It was furnished with a large bed, her beloved mahogany desk, a wardrobe and chest for her clothes, and 2 9-shelf bookcases. That is all she brought with her from home. Nice back. Her entire life of 16 years reduced to this. She borrowed the next room down for her own purposes.
そうだ。アリスにもらった見張りと壊れてないかチェックしないと。
Ain't just 2 of them living here. Oh, she got vinyl. Nice. Vinyl used to be cheap. Now it's expensive for no reason. She needed to see if the project she had been working on all night had borne fruit. Vinyl is the highest, purest quality of music. Besides live music, of course. The study next door served as proof of the life she had been living for the last year and how different that life was from the one she had lived before. It was not a room for a person she had been. It was a room for the person she would eventually become, a place of solitude that she could enter, or so she thought.
うわ、壊れてるどころか跡形もなく消え去ってる。やっぱ自己流アレンジはまだ早かったか。いいわよ。笑いなさいよ、コマドリ。
Kumadori. She's talking to the bird. The nosy neighbor that had intruded upon her sanctuary flew away. While not exceptionally talented, Aoko did not lack the effort and was not afraid to fail. One could have almost mistaken her approach for optimism. like their perspective. She changed out of a uniform and returned to the first floor. Oh, they're not showing her face anymore. They did, right? In the first episode that we did. But that's only for special occasions. Down the stairs, she opened the door to the east wing into the corridor, as dark as a cellar. The absence of windows meant it was pitch black, without the lights on, so she flicked the switch and entered the nearby doorway. Nasu is so good. Hey, Seini! Seini. Dang, Seini's a gold! What happened to Seini? Seini still makes really good TVs. I don't care what people say. They still make really good TVs. It had been her idea to update the drawing room. The walls were decorated with extravagant patterns, and around the room were large, majestic sofas, and a luxurious Persian rug. Amidst it all was a 30-inch television. 30-inch? That's small. Oh, that seemed completely out of place. It stood looking over their other furniture. That's a computer monitor. It stood looking over their other furniture like the emperor with no clothes. Wow. The mansion owner would have rather done it without it, but to the commoner like Aoko, it was an essential commodity. They had fought over its presence at first, but eventually came to agreement and now mutually enjoy this modern comfort. Oh, she has a DVD player. Wait, that doesn't exist.
人のことは言えないか。うちも案外時代錯誤な家だった。
Now in a somewhat pleasant mood, she decided to brew some tea. She boiled some water in the kitchen, prepared a teapot, and made herself some black tea. That's good. Add some honey, lemon. It's a good afternoon. So she has honey. With a flop, she sank into the sofa. This is kind of classy. She took a sip of her tea, then another. Man, Nasu's good. More and more I'm impressed. One thing I like about visual novels is all about the angles. Right? Anime too is all about the camera angles. That's why Ano-san, right? For Evangelion. That's one of his reasons, one of the reasons why his anime is super famous. Because he take good angles. During his documentary, he always talk about the angles, right? He take like 3 hours, cut after cut, redoing cut scenes because he wanted to get the perfect angle. I think camera shots is very important to any form of media. Lulled by the ticking of the clock, she took a third sip as she pondered how to spend her afternoon. The sofa almost seemed to be inviting her, and she sunk even further into a comforting embrace. Aoko blearily opened her eyes as she lifted her body up from the cushions. There was no dream of delusion. Hey, it's not classical music. At some point, a girl had sat down across from her. Not the least bit surprised, she reached for a teacup. With the tea within that had gone completely cold. She asked a question to the girl on the other side of the table. The girl answered without lifting her gaze. And she seemed classy. When silent, she could have been mistaken for a beautiful doll. The girl sitting on the opposite sofa was reading an old book. She had delicate limbs and pale white skin. Not a hint of humanity emanated from her melancholic aura. She had darker hair than Aoko, and her icy eyes were focused on the pages in front of her. Her clothes resembled that of a nun, but were actually her school uniform. In Aoko's humble opinion, the gloominess suited her. She evoked something like out of a painting. There was something unreal about her, as if she were frozen in time. The white of her neck was so lovely that even Aoko found herself enchanted by it. The girl was one of the haunted House 2 residents. Her name was Alice Kwanji. It was the same age as Aoko.
私どれくらい寝てた
1時間と少し。ここで眠ると風邪ひくわよ。
Alice answered indifferently. Not that it bothered Aoko, who was now used to it. She looked at the clock on the wall and saw it was already 7. She had been asleep for 2 hours. The days had been rough, one for her, and she had slept little the night before, so it was no surprise that she had dozed off for as long as she had.
起こしてくれてもよかったのに、せっかくの紅茶が冷めちゃったじゃない。
Gocha.
私が来た時はもう冷めてたわ。
でしょうね。行ってみただけよ。
Aoko drank down the rest of the cold tea in one gulp. In the poorly heated Kwanji mansion, there was more than enough to clear her head and wake up.
こうなると、フォートナム&メイソンも何もないわね。
That's Aoko.
お
Oh!
かえり、アリス。
Oh,
玉の贅
yeah.
沢もあんた抜きじゃ閉まらないってことかしら。
Yeah, they finally show her face for the second time, but this time in casual uniform. Yeah. Anime air vents.
今日は薬日か天中殺か。ちょっと早いけど、お参りってのは十分ありかもね。
You know, I know you know I'm a Saber fan, right? It's probably hard to tell on YouTube, but I am a Saber fan. Right? Saber's always going to be my girl. Number 1 in the heart. Right? But Aoko, in my opinion, I think Aoko has the best character design in Type Moon. Like her character design alone, she looks good in any outfit. You can give her a white tee, blue jeans, she's a goddess. Give her the blue sweater, a queen. Aoko shrugged her shoulders as if resigning herself to her fate.
それで何があったの？
After 2 years together, they knew each other quite well. Aoko had one way of asking questions, and Alice had another. Alice asked without raising her head, and Aoko gave her the details.
まず謝らなくちゃいけない。
I like her socks. It's pretty cute, right? That's cuter than showing feet. Because the socks a little dangly.
昨日徹夜で完成させた例のあれ、意味がなくなっちゃったのよ。ちょっと目を離した隙に沸騰しすぎて壊れちゃったみたい。そうならないよう循環のコードを 2,3 本外したり縫合したりしたんだけど。
Aoko tried to laugh it off if it was someone else's problems.
どういうこと？
今朝休養が入って
あ
学校に呼び出し受けたの。
あ
そこで転入生の世話を押し付けられて一日が無残にも消費されちゃって、帰ってきたら跡形もなく消えてました。
Dang. I forgot who's the illustrator. It's a different illustrator. It's not Takuichi, it's someone else. But he did a good job.
怒る？アリス。
別に青子の器物破損にいちいち怒っていたら一生分の口論をすることになるでしょ。代用品はあるからまた一から始めればいいわ。それより怒ってるのはあなたの方じゃないの？
She doesn't look angry. Lala and Mikan. What? From Loveru? Mikan's Alice. Ako's Lala. Alice was very much on point today. It was true that despite outward appearances, Aoko was seething with frustration. That was the first anime they went in together too, you think? I didn't even know that. That aside.
この転入生っていうのがひどくずれててね。すごい山奥で暮らしてたらしくて、こっちの常識が通じないんだから。三問以下って言葉があるけど、あれって本当のことなのね、アリス。
Alice raised her hand in response to hearing her name. But Aoko kept going on before she could get a word in edgewise. Aoko, after all, expected no sympathy in the first place.
初対面から尺に触るやつだったけど、教室を案内した時なんか失神しそうになったわ。そいつ、教室で教師と1対1で授業を受けるもんだと思ってたらしいの。それはそれでまだ流せる。許容範囲よ、あの程度の冗談は。で、 私が簡潔かつ丁寧に教室の何たるかを教えた後で、そいつなんて言ったと思う？
I like the detail on her hair. It's like single strands of hair all over her shoulders, and not just like a thick strand. That's a nice touch of detail right there.
それで青崎、他の教室は何に使うんだ？ですって。教室に他も何もないでしょ？なんていうか、そいつは少しでも説明を怠るとそのままで納得しちゃうのよ。何も疑問に思わないというか、想像力が欠如してるっていうか、想像することに慣れてないっていうか。まあ一度言ったことはちゃんと分かってるっぽいからバカってわけじゃないんだけど。
あなたが人を批評するのは珍しいわね。そういうダメな人気にするたちだったの？
みじんたりとも気にしないわよ。けど明日からどんな間違いをしでかすのかちょっと心配なだけ。
What she was really worried about was having to clean up the mess if and when it happened. That had to be it. If not, it would mean she had no real idea why she could not get him out of her head.
とにかく変なやつなの。案外アリスと気が合うかも。
三問一回はいい言葉ね。
But from her eyes, it was clear that the question of whether they would get along was irrelevant, given that they would never meet in the first place. Ako gave a non-committal response.
ところでアリス、さっきから何読んでるの？
霊的進化論の二次創作、スピリチュアルダイアリのまがいもの。
ああ、スウェーデンボリー。そんなの今更読んでも仕方ないんじゃない？
新書なら退屈だけど、これは偽書だから。
I'm just really curious. Hey, why did it set this so far apart from Tsukihime? Right? In the OG, it was taking place in the 90s. Right? And this one, obviously 80s. They still made this take place in the 80s, but they moved Tsukihime to 2014 to make it more modern? Was it too late to move this to like the 90s or something? So whatever.
彼の欠点と長所を劇的に褒め上げている。
I'm not too worried about it.
よくできた冒険小説のようよ。
Just curious.
立ちはだかる秘密組織の名前がカントとか気が利いているわ。筆跡はあなたのおじいさんのものだけど。
へえ、あの人そういう趣味まであったんだ。割とユーモアがあったのね。惜しい人を亡くしたわ。
Ako seemed nostalgic over how her now deceased grandfather.
あなたのおじいさん、夏に頼りをくれたけど。
よしてよ、死んだものと考えたいのに。
Ako sighed and lay back on the sofa. The soft cushions caved in under her weight.
話は戻るけど。
Alice shot a glance at Alco. Her body buried in the sofa remained as still as a corpse. It was clear Alco had tuned out with the conversation. Alice silently chastened her with a look. The more she thought about it, the less important the events of the day seemed to become. If she just ignored Alice, the conversation would end there. They would eventually get up and leave today's mistakes unresolved for another day. However, that's not the kind of person Alko Aozaki was.
いいわよ。何？
She asked, still lying down.
今日できなかったのは少し痛いわね。
Failed.
だから反省してるって。学校優先は一人前になってからでしょ。
ならいいけど。
The coldness in her voice made Alko gnash her teeth. She knew what Alice wanted to say. She knew better than anyone. The veneer she wore for school was different than the way she lived at home. While it could be called hiding in plain sight, Alice thought it was silly. And what the silence told her was,
覚悟を決めろって言いたいのよね、あんたは。
today's failure was not a colossal one. She just happened to upset the delicate balance between her home and school lives, chasing one at the expense of the other. And yet the careless mistake was a clear sign of Ako lack of commitment.
アリスは関係ない。これは私が私で決めなくちゃいけないこと。
She had only known for sure for the last year and a half, but she had a hunch for as long as she could remember. Make the choice and the day would come. It was little wonder that her morals and conscience had been stripped away. Ako pushed herself back up. She was met by Alice's cold beauty and wordless gaze.
オッケー、アリス。来週中に決着をつけよう。それでいいんでしょ？
ええ、青子がいいなら。
Ako could not help but shake her head, feeling like she was hearing something similar for the second time that day. Even the comfort of her own, she couldn't banish thoughts of that country boy from her mind.
じゃあ下準備はよろしくね。私まだできないし。
場所は例の公園でいい？
Park.
妥当な線ね。あ、でももう一軒の方は？
Dang, what's with Nasu and parks?
そっちの方が急務じゃない？
I feel like he always do everything in the park.
時と場合、森に変化があれば教えるわ。
After that brief exchange, Alice returned her attention to the book on her lap. Shop talk was over. Now, they could return to their normal relationship as roommates. Ako grabbed the remote and turned on the TV. Since Alice was busy reading, Ako decided to tune in to variety shows that had already started. Alice started to speak but suddenly cut herself off. One of her delicate hands raised to her mouth. She could always cut herself off the second she realized she was about to say something trivial. Sometimes her self-restraint would hit too late, and she would make a gesture like the one she was making now. It occurred to Ako that the sound her cute little roommate made just now was different than the what she blurted in times past.
何？
Ako turned down the volume. With the TV, her intense eyes lit up like those of a Mishizi of cast.
どうということはないんだけど。
ないんだけど？
Alex looked away bashfully, not knowing if she could bring it up or not. It was times like these that her expression carried a real warmth and surprising charm. If he could see her at this moment, Alex's father would have to admit that her name suited her perfectly.
今日帰ってくるときおかしなものを見て誰かに話そうと思っていたんだけど。
Ako nodded, beckoning her to continue.
つまらない、本当に意味のないことよ。けどどう考えてもそんなことをする理由
I
が
like that
わから
little
ない。
detail, man. Right? Usually when people draw long hair characters, they like to hide the ears, right? Because it's unnecessary to draw. This guy went out of his way to draw Ako ears. That's cool. I think he drew Alice ears. I wasn't looking at Alice. My bad.
人間ぐらいの大きな猫がひょこひょこ出前をする理由ってわかる？
Oh, is that the part-time job that was mentioned earlier, right? For a second, Ako thought Alice was trying and failing miserably to make a joke again. One would think that about anyone, really. But she seemed completely serious. Even if Alice's sense of humor fell flat for Ako, the story already sounded more fanciful than Alice's usual attempts at jokes. Ako concluded that her roommate was talking about something she had actually seen.
その話には2つぐらい信じがたい部分があるけど、1つずつ論破していい？
いいの。私もからくりぐらいは思いつくから。ただ理由がわからないから聞いてるの。わざわざ精巧な猫のぬいぐるみを着て出前のてんやものを届けに行くことってそんなに簡単かしらね。
難易度以前にそれをやる人間の常識性を疑うけどね、私は。
Alice nodded attentively at her words.
まあ世の中いろいろあるから、私たちみたいなのもいれば、下界から遮断された山奥で暮らしていたやつまで10人十色よ。私だったら 見かけたら声かけて理由を尋ねただろうけど。
Oh man. Alice's gaze drifted at that.
ふん。暮れゆく住宅街にさまよう出前猫か。背景が夕焼けだったらファンタジーだったでしょうに。で、今日の夕飯どうする？せっかく話が出たし、私らもてんやものにしようか。
Akko loved getting takeout. Her face glowed as she spoke. They had no hard rules for dinner, but if one of them was in the mood to cook, they made it a point to make enough for two. At the very worst, this meant entire weeks without dinner, but the two of them agreed that this was the system that worked best for them. Whether they found cooking to be too much effort or simply liked ordering out, nights like this one were a common occurrence, much to the chagrin of the restaurants of Misaki Town. Delivering to the mansion meant coming all the way up to the top of this hill, the source of the disgruntlement.
時間は8時前。ギリギリセーフね。私今月がいいな。あそこの月見そば最近ご無沙汰だったし。
The Hungry Student Council president took out their mini menus and decided to look for anything that stood out. Alice casually responded without sparing as much as a glance.
悪いけど、私夕飯済んでるの。
What? With those words, Alko froze. All deliveries required a minimum of 2 items, so she was out of luck without an accomplice. Cruel society had decided it couldn't be bothered to deliver to a princess who had only ordered a single serving of food. Incidentally, to counteract orders from the Hilltop Mansion, the restaurants had declared. The minimum number of orders would be 3 starting next year. Akko and Alice were still in the dark to their fiendish change in direction.
この裏切り者だから帰ってくるのが遅かったのね。帰宅部、学校までバス徒歩込みで片道20分のあんたが、なんで5時以降に帰ってくんのか考えるべきだったわ。
Unfortunately for Akko, she had been too out to even remember that she was the one who had fallen asleep.
ああ、ひどい女。そういう時は残された一人のためにお土産買ってくるのが暗黙の了解だったのに。私だってこの前の外食の時はアリスの分も買ってきたじゃない。
It was unknown how serious Akko was being, but she was visibly angry. I like this perspective a lot. I don't know about you. This is really cool. I don't think I've seen any other visual novels does this. I haven't read a lot, to be fair. But most of the styles of visual novel, like I said, it's like a text on the bottom, and it's like a character sprite. We're just looking straight at them. This one usually will be in a perspective of the main character. But Witch of the Holy Night seems to be special because there's 3 main characters technically, right? So we're not in the eyes of either one character, at least in this scene. We're looking over the shoulder of Akko, so we're like a third party. And it looks like, ew, what the fuck? It looks like Alice is looking at us. What the heck? It's like she's not even looking at Akko. Did they do this on purpose too? That's really smart. I like that. I wonder how they're gonna animate this though, right? That's clever in my opinion. That Akko, I hope we can see in the anime, Akko back talking to Alice, Alice staring straight to the viewers. Maybe because she doesn't want to look at Akko. I like that though. It makes me feel like I'm part of it too for some reason. More immersion. It was unknown how serious Akko was being, but she was visibly angry. She had already woken up hungry that morning, and by the time she was called into school until now, she had consumed nothing but tea. It was a small miracle that her stomach was not growling. She knew it was her own fault, but she persisted, wanting to get revenge on Alice for scolding her earlier.
この前ってあれのこと？
What the hell? Why she's looking at me? Look at Akko. She's right there. Look a little bit to the stage left. She's looking stage right, which is where I'm at, weirdly. Maybe I should move my seat.
あなたが都心に出向いた時、夕食にお寿司を食べてきたのに。
お寿司を。
お土産はなぜかコンビニエンスストアのビニール袋だったって話？
Ako had kicked a hornet's nest.
何よ、買ってこないよりはマシでしょ。
真実は時に隠蔽すべきね。
Alice's icy gaze pierced right through her. It's like they're both looking at me. Ako had certainly crossed the line by going on and on about how sushi circled around the restaurant while Alice ate her convenience store meal. But new things fascinated her, and she couldn't contain her curiosity towards the conveyor belt sushi shops that started popping up at the time. They were nothing short of miraculous. Even honesty can be a sin, given the right circumstances.
わかった。わかりました。じゃあ今回のは前のと帳消しってことでいいわね。
Alice went back to her book without so much of recognizing the question. The fact that she did not confirm it made Alko anxious. Oh, physics on
今日は
her
薬味だし
sweater.
おとなしく台所に立って料理の腕を磨くとしましょう。
What are you gonna cook? She stood up, announcing her intent to no one in particular.
聞き忘れてた。アリス、どこで夕食済ま
One
せ
thing
た
I
の？
will complain about, right? Even though I've been gassing up the art, your hands do look kind of weird, but that's fine. That's like most art, to be fair. Anime arts, at least. Alice's hand froze on her current page. She suddenly shut the book, and she was reading stood up, as if the wit's end. She walked across the drawing room with her book in hand. When she reached the door, she stopped and turned towards Ako.
聞きたい。
Kikta.
まあ、なんとなく。
Ako nodded timidly, cowed by Alice's sudden vigor. Alice continued in her matter-of-fact way.
その猫が余ったメニューをくれたのよ。
What? With that brief response, she left the room. Oh, it doesn't have to be normal. Wow, we finished one episode. That's how it's supposed to be. Dang, it took me 3 months to finish one episode. It's crazy. Wait, is that 3? That took me 5 months. I wonder. What do I want to do? Do I want to continue to the next episode? I'll call it here. I can continue 1 more hour, honestly. 50 more months? It's 30 hours, I heard. So I'm contemplating. Should I like change up the stream? 1 episode per stream? That's gonna be long though. Let's keep going. I'll stop when I feel like stopping. I think that's how I did it with Tsukihime, right? 1 chapter per stream. Chapter 2, Little Happening of Last Night.
「都会は魔界だ。けど、慣れれば割と住みやすいとは思う。」
Sujiro sighed listlessly. He looked down at the winter schoolyard below, lost in thought. December was written on the corner of the chalkboard. He could not believe 10 days had already passed since he transferred to school. The last vestiges of autumn had faded with the change of the month. The trees were all but barren, and the ground below them a mat of fallen leaves. 4th period was classics. The elderly teacher stood at the lectern and rambled on. While he had finally gotten used to the classroom, he had a long way to go to get up to speed in his classes. Lacking even the basic understanding most students learned in their early scholastic life, it was a battle for Sujiro to keep up. Even if he unable to grasp all the contents right away, he is at least trying to memorize everything in hope that he could make use of it down the road. Which is why losing himself in his thoughts was about the last thing he should have been doing. He would normally chastise himself for daydreaming, but Troubling, he was unable to concentrate in class today. Sojiro could not place the source of the lack of concentration. It could not have been the winter in the city. It was pretty much milder than the mountains. Neither was his part-time job particularly tiring. He was not any more physically fatigued than an average student, so that could not be it either. Others might conclude that it's because the courses were boring, but that seemed off the mark too. Sojiro did not share his classmates' opinions about their classes. On the contrary, he rather enjoyed his class time. No, his frame of mind was not to blame either. Trying to figure out what was wrong only made him more depressed.
いけない。こんなんじゃ気が散る一方だ。
He scolded himself and turned his attention to the chalkboard. The rhythmic ticks of the chalk were sending him into a slumber, but he somehow managed to resist their lullaby. And yet he was still unable to focus on the class. Sojiro reflected silently as his custom and sighed inwardly. Deep down, he knew the real source of his agitation. The events of the previous night were the only thing it could be. Events of the previous night. His part-time job. With a chime to signal the end of the class, the teacher bowed and exited into the hallway. To see him off, the 30 or so students all stood up from their desk. The clock, which had seemed to slow dramatically around past 11, now struck noon. Hey, that's a character face. You know, you can't see I'm covering his mouth. The tension seemed to fade from the room all at once. The release from a difficult lesson was the start of a lunchtime, the highlight of school life. My favorite school time was lunch. I'm not gonna lie. That is the highlight. Misaki High Cafeteria was not particularly known for its quality of food. Complaints that the quality was below that of a private school went unheeded, and the same unique flavors appeared on the menu each and every day. Private school prices coupled with subpar quality led the majority of students to opt for boxed lunches instead. Sojiro Class 2C was no exception. The boys muscled as many as 10 desks in what resembled a long dining table. Conversely, the girls divided themselves into smaller tables or two of 2 desks with practiced ease and started chatting with their cliques. Not a single student wasted even a second of their precious lunchtime. Where both sides differed in method, they shared a common goal. Sojiro was struck dumb by the efficiency of the transformation. Even after 10 days, he was unable to keep pace with the rest of the class and remained seated where he had sat during the previous period.
Oi! こっち来いよ、Shizuki!
Shizuki. The voice came from a large makeshift near the table near the window. He got tape on his throat, or bandages. Hosuke Kinomi was beckoning him over while leaning back in his chair in a way that looked like he could fall backward at any second. He was regularly shot down by others in the class for being lazy and crass, but his earnest nature kept him from getting on anyone's bad side. There's something that could be said for not being so forthcoming all the time too.
飯にしようぜ、飯。
Man, that's fucking weird, bro. I need to stop cursing. But they do 2 sprites, cause one's at the background, one's the foreground, whatever you want to call it, right? So it's like we're seeing twins, but it's not really twins. It's a weird style, but hey, alright.
俺さ、昨日店の残り物もらいすぎたんだよ。春巻きだよ、春巻き。
It's like I'm
そ
looking
れを
at
見た親
twins.
父がさ、もらったもんは残すなってうるさくてさ。食いもん。
I wonder why
春
they
巻
did
きしか
that.
ねえんだわ。
I guess because they draw the characters in the background, they can't really remove it. It's not like a PNG spray or whatever, right? So they just added a spray, you know? They could have I don't know what they could have done. But you get used to it, I guess. It seemed his end game was to find someone who might take pity on him and trade him for something better. The two of them work at the same restaurant, so he was the one of the few people Sojiro knew before starting school. It was also the reason Sojiro was able to learn the true meaning of the phrase, can't live with him, can't live without him.
お、いいな。しずきも来いよ。今日は待ちに待った缶詰祭りをすっからさ。
ついに結婚するのかよ。誰か冷静になった方がいいんじゃないのか。バカ、すげえ楽しいってきっと。そりゃパチモン臭いけどカニ缶とか食い放題なんだぜ。サバ缶じゃなくて。
マジやったー、俺も参加する。コンビーフは一人一個、
Corned beef.
それとも早い者勝ち。
Canned corned beef.
お前な、一人で何個も食えるもんじゃねえぞあれ。うまいのは最初の1個だけだって。しずきたちが来るならノルマは一人7個に下がるのか。
Man, the perspective is so weird. It's like we're the perspective of this NPC talking. And we're looking at both Redhead and Sojiro.
ところで木の実の弁当の中身、なんか缶詰より硬そうじゃね？
The boys usually pass the time by making fun of each other on lunches, but today they were united against a common foe. A pyramid of countless cans stood in the middle of the table. They had all been taken from the pantry of the certain student house, and the expiration dates on them had been scribbled out with a marker. Ugh.
よし、やろうども。各自毎缶切りの用意はいいな。食べるも地獄、残すも地獄。我ら5次元目の授業はないものと恐れぬ修羅となり、鉄の悪魔どもを平らげん。食材は下町の何でも紹介、マーケット中山からの提供です。
ヒュー、バカも休み休み、イエーイ。
The boys united as one and hoisted their can openers into the air.
ほら、しずきも食べようぜ。缶切りならまだあるからさ。
いや、君らの弁当の毒味はごめんだって昨日言ったはずだ。それにその缶詰半分以上賞味期限切れてるだろ
う。なんだよ、釣れねえな。
Quite an inexplicably excited group of guys. Their real motivation seemed to be spread the pain. But moved by their energy and conceding defeat, Sojiro got up from his seat and joined them. And before he could,
じゃあ私たちが釣り上げようかな。
who's this?
しずきくん、あんなの放っておいて一緒にどう？
Oh, another interested party joined the fray. A girl with short but stylish hair had called out to him. She had also tried to get Sojiro to join the track and field club several days earlier.
う。いや、そっちも遠慮したいな。できれ
Dang,
ば。
can't trust these girls. He answered with a troubled look on his face. On the table was nothing but a pile of fruit Sojiro had never seen before.
なんで？パパイヤとか嫌い？
Papaya!
マンゴーもあるし、ヤシの実だってあるし。内緒だけど、
Yubari
夕張
melon?
メロンもあるんだから。
I gotta look that up. What's a Yubari melon? I like papaya. Oh, what the hell is this? A cantaloupe cultivar formed in greenhouse Yubari, Hokkaido. I've seen this before. I think I eaten this. Oh, I had this before. I didn't know this was a Yubari melon. I don't even know what it was called. That's pretty good. Not bad. Well, she got mango and coconut. Not young coconut, by the way. She just said coconut, so it's not sweet. I'll take the mango. I'll take you body melon. Those were pretty good too, I guess. It's not juicy, at least from what I remember. So I'll take the mango. Mango's not juicy either, but it's sweeter. The members of the fruit group pumped their fists in unison at their last delicacy.
待て、なんだヤシの実って。あれ食えるもんなの？ あ、マンゴー余ったら回してほしいな。
See, I told you mango's a safe choice.
バカ、肉食え肉。そんなんだから貧弱な体してんだぞ、お前ら。
Damn, this man's on a carnivore diet, bro. I went on that carnivore diet for 3 weeks. I lost 26 pounds. But I gave up. It was too hard. I love the taste of seasoned flesh, not just raw flesh. Or cooked flesh, I guess, but no seasoning. I also like sweet tea too much. Sojiro couldn't keep track of all the voices flying across the room.
わかるのはどっちも破滅的だってことだけだ。
That being said, he found it difficult to refuse them outright. His tendency to accept others' goodwill at face value occasionally left him frozen with indecision. Not accustomed to regular human interaction, he was unable to judge when it was or was not appropriate to turn someone down. Someone tapped the lost little lamb on the shoulder.
ほっとけほっとけ。いちいちここのバカどもに付き合ってちゃ人生台無しだ。適当に流しとけばいいんだよ。ほら、お前らもな、善良な羊を悪の園に引きずり込んでんじゃねえよ。
I was eating fruits going to the dark side. I get it, it's not, it's nature's dessert. It's not good to have too many. An inappropriately loud voice echoed throughout the classroom from behind him.
副会長。
Sojiro turned around to see a boy about a head taller than him. His long hair, while unkempt, had been brushed back, giving it an appealing, windswept look. His attractive features belied the contempt of the classroom his eyes carried. Unlike the perpetually dopey-looking Sojiro, he was an extremely attractive boy, capable of captivating anyone who so much as glanced at him. In most cases, such a boy presence would be met with awe and respect. However,
なんだよ、副会長様のお出ましかよ。
てめえらのバカ顔にはコリゴリだって学食に陣取ってたんじゃなかったのかよ。
へへへ。ここは見ての通り、ボンクラどもが集う貧民街でございますよ。王子はほら、A組の綺麗どころとカフェでお茶でもしてればいいじゃない。
Class A.
またしずき呼びに来たのかよ。青子女子といい、飛び丸殿下といい。しずき、なんかヤバいことしちゃったのか。
しずきくんは校則違反しないじゃん。ちょっとそれ以外のルール破るだけで。ってことはやっぱり築地くん、青崎に振られてからそっちに走ったって本当だったのね。
Tsukihime. Just call him. Akko rejecting him. They continue to give him a hard time. Switch teams? Oh shit! Wait a minute, what she said?
ってことはやっぱり築地くん、青崎に振られてからそっちに走ったって本当だったのね。
I don't know what she said, but okay. Sojiro could not help but feel sorry for him. The class vice president, on the other hand, showed absolutely no reaction whatsoever. He glared at them with a bored look and simply raised his voice.
相変わらず無駄に元気があって結構じゃねえかてめえら。そんなに活力たぎってんなら冬季特別清掃班にだって参加できるよな。おい、今んところ自主的に申し出てるのは全校で一人しかいねえんだ。西全員が参加すりゃ俺も青崎も肩の荷が下りるってもんなんだがよ。
The menacing growl in his voice contrasted greatly with the boys' well-constructed looks. Both Team Canned and Team Fruit words were doused like a fire being smothered. And this is partly due to their fear of the boy, but mostly due to their fear of Special Winter Cleaning Team. Yes, the Special Winter Cleaning Team. Joining meant spending time of your winter break cleaning up the old school building and mountainous rear courtyard that had been neglected by the previous two student councils. It was a form of legalized torture that could potentially ruin 3 whole days of your winter break. And forget about any compensation in the form of extra credits. No, it was pointless volunteer work for a student council project. It was practically a miracle they had found even a single volunteer.
いや、僕らちょっと体弱いんでスイッチョで缶詰食べてますね。
私たちも貧血気味
Aniplex.
でこうやって果物食べてないと死んじゃうっていうか、冬休みはもう予定いっぱいっていうか。
Other students but one scuffled away.
よし、昼食はやっぱり静かにやらねえとな。1年坊主の教室より2年の教室の方がやかましいなんて苦情、いい加減にしやがれよ、アホども。
The mob meekly scurried away. Sojiro turned to join them, but as he did,
あ、お前はこっちだ、宗次郎。ちょい顔貸せ。
The hand on his shoulder held him in place.
だよ、生徒会応募。人んちのテーブルマナーまで指図してほしくねえよな。
Kinomi cursed him under his breath to his friends. The second, the vice president turned to go.
はあ？上等じゃねえか、木の実。いいぜ。お前が記念すべき2人目だ。冬休み、首を洗って待ってやがれ。
The vice president must have heard everything Kinomi said, because he gave a thumbs up before figuratively jabbing it in his eye.
はあ？何言ってんですか、あいつ。あれ自主的なイベントじゃん。いくら副会長だって強制はできないですよね。
The apartment child of Class C laughed merrily.
そりゃ昨日までの話だ。会長の提案が学校側に受理されてな。本日付で生徒会役員は強制力のある推薦権をもらえたんだよ。特に会長と副会長の推薦は絶対だ。拒否した場合、学校側はともかく青崎が何するか俺には止められねえから、そのつもりでな。
げえ、それ事実上の死刑宣告じゃ。生徒会マジ応募。
I don't know what to say. Kinomi, terrified, shrieking, continued behind him as the vice president Sojiro left the classroom. Saving.
お前も大変だな、宗次郎。
Time is it?
あんたも割と暇なんだな、副会長。
Is he my BFF? The two entered the empty student council room. Misaki High Students Council had the use of two rooms. One was a large office specifically made for the student council. The second was an archive room, once used to preparatory office for math courses. As the latter of the two, the walls were lined with densely packed shelves, making an already cramped room seem even more confined. For this reason, it served more as a private refuge to the student council. The two students sat across from one another. Tobimaru Tsukichi. He was the son of the chairman of Misaki High School and the vice president of his school council. Like Sojiro, he was in his second year and first met the transfer student a week earlier, but the task of looking after him was dumped onto the student council.
副会長はやめろって。クソったれな話だが、俺は所詮会長の犬だからな。
The self-deprecating of his own words were he hardly seemed dissatisfied with the arrangement. He took a snack from his pocket and grimaced at it before taking a bite. The 100-calorie energy bar sacrificed flavor for efficiency, but somehow not enough to prevent him gnawing on it like a piece of jerky.
そうか。でも犬は良くないな、飛び丸。
Sojiro sat in a chair with a concerned look on his face.
あ？犬がどうしたって？
犬は良くないって言った。例えが違う気がするし、何より怖いぞ、あれ。
なんだよ。山奥育ちのくせに犬が怖いのか？
そりゃ大抵の生き物は怖いけど、犬は別格だ。徒党を組んだ野犬ほど始末に追えないものはない。
He's not wrong. Pack of wild dogs is scary because they run fast.
足の速さも脅威だけど、何より執念深
See, I told you they run fast.
坂だろうと追いかけてくるし、最後の一匹になるまで引かないんだぞ。
Sojiro opened his lunch as he spoke. Inside the bright green cloth, three beautifully made triangular rice balls.
ショックだ。
ショックって何が？
いや、そんなこの世のものとは思えない握り飯を見たのは初めてだ。
それどっちなんだ？
褒めてるんだよ、バカ。
Sojiro was always confounded by phrasing that could be interpreted in multiple ways. Euphemism and subtle sarcasm were often lost on him. It was only on rare occasions, like this one, that he chose to confirm what was being said. Tobimaru was come to suspect that Sojiro had a very black and white way of seeing things.
ところで、その固まった小麦粉みたいなの、美味しいのか?
Sojiro stared at the energy bar with a curious look on his face.
まずくはねえが、うまくもねえよ。まあ、試してみる分には止めねえが。人間、何事も手間暇惜しむようになっちゃおしまいだぜ。
My bad. Tobimaru quickly finished off his bar, put another one on the table, and grabbed one to Sojiro rice balls. Sojiro failed to notice the rudeness of the forced exchange, and gave the pre-offered energy bar a try. Wait a minute. Oh, he gave him, I thought he chewed on it and gave it to him. He gave him a new one.
なんだか、土を食べてるみたいだ。
違いない。遊びをなくせば人生こんなもんだって見本だな。
Out of principle, Sojiro labored over his energy bar, cringing all the while. He was both curious of the unknown and loath to leave something unfinished.
今無理に平らげる必要はねえぞ。そいつの利点は携帯食ってところだからな。素で味気ないが、食えるうちは味が落ちないのがいいところだ。まあ、そっちはともかく。どうだ、少しは慣れたか？
ああ、飛丸や青崎が気を使ってくれているからね。
Tobimaru turned his eyes to the ceiling, unable to handle Sojiro's carefree smile. As absent-minded as Sojiro might have been, his expressions were nonetheless incredibly earnest. It was like poison to someone as self-absorbed as Tobimaru.
だから青崎は来ねえんだよな。
He took a bite from the rice ball to steer himself away from such thoughts. Though not cold, the rice had managed to maintain its freshness, startling Tobimaru.
ん？いや待て。気を使ってんのは俺だけじゃねえか。青崎なんて、お前が転入した日に彼迷惑だから見張ってての一言だけだぞ。
なんでそこで君が怒るんだ？
いや、だからだな。お前が学校になれるよう陰ながら見守ってんのは俺で、青崎は生徒会室で全校生徒の弱みを集めてるだけって話だ。面倒な苦労してんのは俺だけじゃねえかって。
Tobimaru stopped himself, realizing how ridiculous he sounded. Sojiro, rightly so, knew it was nothing to get this upset over.
まあ、いいさ。青崎に言いつけられなきゃこうなることもなかったしな。知ってるか？あいつ、どうして俺にこんな役させたと思う？
That's a cool transition.
副会長だからだろ。
Tobimaru's handsome face went dark.
あのな、どうして副会長が転入生一人にかかりっきりにならなくちゃいけねえんだよ。いいぜ。機会があったら青崎本人に聞いてみな。あいつの本性がわかるからよ。
What are you trying to say? He snatched another bite of rice ball while grumbling under his breath. There it was again. Rice grain were just dry enough to be fresh and tender in the mouthful morsel that betrayed its humble description, which must have been delicately molded by a master chef rather than havishly clumped into a ball.
そして何よりこの塩加減、中の具から染み出した厳妙な醤油加減はどうだ。食欲をそそるどころか、脳を食欲だけにするような。おお。
飛丸、思ってることが口に出てるみたいだけど。
あ、いや、それほどのショックだったってわけだ。なあ、その字。これ具は何だ？
Sony G. It was only natural to inquire about an unexpectedly delicious bite. He had been nibbling around the edges and had not yet reached its center.
ああ、それはイナゴ。
ありえねえ！
The vice president choked in his cough. He had some that Sochido would prefer earthly ingredients instead of seafood on accident in the mountain life, But he would never expected the would use grasshoppers.
くそ、食う前に言えよな。信じられねえぐらいうまいと思っちまったじゃねえか。
ああ、今のは嘘だよ。
They lock eyes for a moment.
本当は鮭。いくらなんでもイナゴはね。
おお、そうだよな。いや、安心した。いくらなんでもイナゴはねえよな。
He's gonna say, "Oh, I'm joking. It's not a salmon. It actually is grasshopper."
ああ、こんな都会で身の締まったイナゴが手に入るもんか。
As curious as those words were, Tobimon decided to let them go.
たく、どっちにしても冗談きついぜ。危うく吐き出すところだったじゃねえか。らしくねえぞ、宗十郎。
君が青崎の悪口を言うからだ。
Huh? Sojiro closed his eyes as he continued to chew on his rice balls. What kind of face is this? Is he pouting? He's angry. Tobimon watched incredulously as Sojiro made no attempt to hide his disapproval. That's his disapproval face.
おい、今のはさすがに聞き捨てならねえぞ。俺が青崎の悪口を言ったから意種返しをしたと、そういうことか。
Sojiro continued chewing. The country boy's silent protest said all that needed to be said. The vice president suddenly looked like he had been struck by lightning.
なんてこった。お前、まさか青崎に惚れてんのか。そうなのか。そうなんだな。おい、眠ってねえで起きろ。
Tobimon flew out of his chair and violently shook Sojiro by the shoulders. Sojiro opened his eyes.
そうか。お前は1年前の惨劇を知らないんだな。知ってりゃ、そんなストレートな破滅願望を持つこともなかったろうに。
君の言葉には誤解が含まれてるけど、それは後にする。それより、1年前の惨劇って？
Tobimon regained his composure and sat down after a moment's thought.
仕方ねえ。この手の噂をするのは好きじゃねえんだけどな。
Tobimon reassured himself that it was in Sojiro's best interest as a young man to know.
あれは青崎がまだ1年の頃の話だ。あの頃はみんな入学したばっかりで、青崎がどんな性格か誰も知らなかった。あいつ外見は文句なしに美人だからな。そりゃ男どもは狂気乱舞したもんさ。
Little did they know that soon after they would go crazy for an entirely different reason.
4月5月はもう上を下への大騒ぎだよ。あの時ばかりは上級生も下級生もなかったな。野郎同士の牽制、共闘、果ては決闘まで。まあよくも騒いだもんさ。
なんでそんなよくわからない事態になるんだ？
そりゃ青崎は一人きり、命知らずな野郎は延べ100人ほどいたからだよ。
100 dudes.
一人一人青崎とランチしても3ヶ月かかるだろ。だからまずは男同士でつまんねえ暗闘があったのさ。まあいい。わからねえならそこは飛ばそう。所詮負け犬どもの話だしな。本筋にはなりえねえ。でな、そんなどうでもいい戦いを勝ち残った奴らは列なしで1年の女に言い寄ったわけだ。青崎はあれで、なんていうか、相手のなけなしの誠意じゃなくてあれか、勇気、そういうのを無視できずに認めちまうやつだからな。言い寄ってくる相手を可能な限り丁寧に断ってた。が、中にはそれで勘違いしちまうやつもいてよ。3年のある野郎がこれは脈ありと見て青崎に何度も言い寄ったんだよ。多分そいつ頭がおかしかったんだ。今にして思うとそうとしか思えん。
Incidentally, Tobimaru decided to gloss over the fact that his student was also a former student council president.
学園ばかりか。青崎の家まで押しかけたそうでな。あまりにしつこいんで、青崎も堪忍袋の尾が切れたんだろう。
What?
ちょっと口にするのははばかられる方法で振ったんだよ。
Repeat it. Oh!
結果、そいつは自分から他校に転入希望したばかりか、三崎町からも逃げ出しちまって、青崎も1ヶ月ばかり自宅謹慎を食らった。
Damn, she killed him!
世に言う血の公会堂事件だ。詳しく知りたけりゃ本人はまずいな。新聞部にでも行け。あそこの部長は命知らずだから、聞けば面白がって教えてくれる。
飛び丸、その具体的な表現を恋に避けてないか。
He's a stalker.
仕方ねえだろ。理事長の息子だろうがなんだろうが、怖いものは怖えし、高校ぐらいは無事卒業しとかねえとな。うちの女子の制服見るたびに規制を上げるトラウマなんて持ちたくねえよ。
What? I'm confused too. Let's see. You're not telling me everything. He's traumatized. What the fuck? What? Sojiro tilted his head to the side in confusion. Tomoda had lost him with that comment. He's traumatized.
まあいい。それより、なんで青崎なんかがいいんだよ、宗次郎。
He tilted his head again, this time to the other side.
おい、お前、本当に青崎が好きなのか？単に胸がドキドキ言ってるだけなら、それは恋じゃなくて恐怖だってオチもあるぜ。いくらその字がぼんやりでも、理由ってもんがあるだろう。
He tilted his head even further. What Tomoda was saying sounded odd, but Sojiro decided not to press the matter. All the more because he found many of his emotions towards Aoko Ozaki to be incomprehensible.
そうだな、おかしい。俺はあまり彼女を知らないのにね。
That was because they had not truly spoken to each other since the day she showed him around. Every time Sojiro tried to talk to her, she immediately got up and left. As fate would have it, they ended up working together that recent Sunday, but made only idle chatter on the way back.
けど飛び丸、君は知らないだけなんだ。時々なんだが、誰かの視線を感じて振り返ってみると、いつ失敗するかを心配して見ている人がいる。飛び丸の言う通り、ただ廊下で俺を見かけて単に監視していただけなのかもしれない。本当は俺のことなんて気にせず素通りしたいのかもしれない。けどどんな種類であれ、彼女の心配は本物だ。それにここが一番大事だと思うんだけど、実際の話、青崎のそういうところのおかげで俺は助かっていたりするんだ。
His tone was measured and sincere. Tomomaru sighed with a tinge of regret. If not for those words, he could have introduced Sojiro to a more suitable girl with whom he could have lived out the rest of his school days in peace. He never went to such lengths for his other friends. Generally speaking, it was some benefit to him. He was unafraid of exploiting another. If they were to no use, he didn't bother getting involved with them. That was how Tobimaru Tsukichi operated. Sojiro happened to be the type of person who provided no benefit to Tobimaru, yet somehow sparked in him a desire to help. Now you can see both the reflection. It was not that friendship had completely alienated him. He just did not have many people he felt that close to. So Sojiro had really fallen for Aoko. It was not his place, as a friend, to try to change his mind.
やれやれ。結局、惚れてるやつには理由なんていらねえんだな。
そんなことはない。理由なら一つある。彼女を一目見たときに、綺麗だなって思ったぞ。
え？
Tobimaru's shoulder slumped.
なんだ？ あんだけ恥ずかしいセリフ言っといて、要は外見に惚れてますな。結局見てくれかよ、宗次郎。
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with liking someone with their looks. Everyone got different tastes. There's nothing wrong with that.
綺麗なものに見とれるのはいいことじゃないのか？
Tell him.
自分を綺麗に見せる努力をしているんだから、外見から内面を判断するのはそんなおかしな話じゃないと思う。
That sounded like a sophism to Tobimaru, but he had no counterpoint to offer.
しょうがねえ。わかったよ。この話はもうやめよう。その字が誰をてめえの女にするか、俺の知ったことじゃねえし。
Now, why the one major thing Tobimaru had mistaken about this whole conversation? Namely that Sojiro was not head over heels in love with Aoko and hoped to go steady with her. He really liked her as a person. Nobody could have foreseen this massive calamity that would be caused by such this simple misunderstanding.
だがよ、一つだけ忠告しておくぜ、宗次郎。青崎は喧嘩をした相手だろうと別に嫌うわけじゃない。逆に言えば親切にしたって別に好かれるわけでもない。いい例が俺だ。
He spoke with a pained sigh as if opening old wounds from the past.
そうか。詳しく。
おう、昔な、あいつがあんまりに独善的だったんで、つい手を挙げかけちまったことがある。
Damn.
半年前の夏だ。1年もあいつと生徒会やってたもんだから、俺も女っつうより戦友って気になっててな。つい勢いで平手打ちをしようと右手を挙げた。我ながら4番バッターも角也という腰のひねり。確かな実感とともに俺は勝利を確信したもんさ。
He had a distant look in his eyes as his words trailed off.
翌日になって、こりゃ完全に敵扱いされたなと覚悟して生徒会室に行ってみりゃ、青崎はいつも通りだった。で、以来あいつと俺は会長と副会長で収まってる。
Sojiro sighed at his story. He then said with absolute confidence.
今の話を総合すると、君は単にのろけたいのか？
Clearly, he had missed the point entirely.
なわけあるか！今の話のどこに甘酸っぱい要素があんだよ。俺としちゃあいつを女として見なくなった決定的な事件だったんだがね。
なんだ、違うのか？
To be honest, I didn't know what was the point of the story either. A look of disappointment filtered across Sojiro's face. Tobimaru revised his opinion of him. Sojiro was something of a simpleton, but there was something more about him that Tobimaru could not quite place.
とにかくだ。俺が言いたいのは、青崎青子の好き嫌いの基準ってのは普通じゃないってことだ。
好き嫌い。
いいことをすれば好かれる。気に入らないことをすれば嫌われる。ってわけじゃねえんだよ。あのお姫様は。
Oh, I get what he's saying. Sojiro answered that he would keep in mind as he looked to the clock. They had been talking for a while, and lunch was almost over.
もう君からの話はないか？
あ？初めからねえよ、そんなの。
Wanted to chill. Why had Tobimaru even brought him in the first place, right? Sojiro tilted his head in wonder but shook it off to deal with the more pressing matter at hand.
よし。じゃあもう少し付き合ってくれ。飛丸に聞きたいことがあったんだ。
Tobimaru sat up straight, having never seen Sojiro's face look so serious before. Excuse me. Sojiro set aside his rice ball and cleared his throat.
実は昨日こんなことがあって。
He spoke solemnly, and as carefully as possible, he recounted what had occurred the night before. Next scene.
しずきくんいる？
Alright, I think this is a good stopping point. Yes. Perfect stopping point. It's still saving. I can't do nothing. Oh. Oh, I forgot to play this. Yo, Nasu. Damn, I love that he said, hey, this is a PC game. What? Dang it. I remember in one of the interviews, Nasu said, oh, I don't want to bring it to a PC. I didn't want to bring Tsukihime Remake to the PC. I want to have a movie theater experience. There's a freaking cursor. It's a mouse freaking cursor Tsukihime Remake. This game was originally on PC. Wish of the Holy Night. That's what the heck, bro. Just say you don't want people to pirate. There's nothing wrong with that. It's alright. I'll support you now, so I'll buy all your games. Not really all. I'll try to buy as much as I can. But that's it for Witch on the Holy Night. Sponsored by nobody. But this was made by Todd Moon, so why not? Alright. Hopefully I'll be consistent. Keep playing the game. It is fun. I like it. Right. Yeah, we'll keep playing more. So, appreciate when I stopped by. It's been cool. We'll play more Witch on the Holy Night. Later. Bye.